I've been involved with Celtics since pretty much its inception, which happened on the practice of an AYSO soccer field, I believe, when Dave ROUT was coaching my daughter as part of his and his daughter's U10 soccer team.
We reached out to a few athletic kids in the community, just friends and family that we knew, you know, word of mouth, and suddenly we had a team of, I think, 10 or 11 players. We gave them the name Celtics because that was very easy. I played for St. Charles Celtics, so all we did was scratch out the name St. Charles and stuck LaGrange on it. We got the kids together, you know, in my front room, you know, on Park, you know, and we had a get-together, you know, a pre-season get-together to choose a uniform. And of course, Celtics, everybody thinks green goes with Celtics, so the kids chose these beautiful, you know, neon or lime green or Irish green, you know, uniforms.
And that's kind of where I was. I was accosted by an Englishman on an AYSO soccer field, and the rest is kind of history. It went from there.
That first team was a bit of a ragtag bunch and didn't even have legitimate jerseys. The uniforms were t-shirts with iron-on numbers and shorts that didn't quite match and always drove Megan Rout crazy. And I remember the first real tournament we attended, watching the opposing team march in their matching sweatshirts with their backpacks on their back, and we were literally intimidated. We thought, wow, that's a real team, because we didn't even really have uniforms. But those girls played with heart, and they were competitive, and they just loved playing together. And the spirit that I think Dave and others had hoped to create really caught on with the girls, and they really did enjoy themselves.
I think when Celtics started, I think David could tell you every single kid and every single parent that was in Celtics. And he loves that, and it's definitely what sets this club apart. As we grew and grew, it was harder and harder for him to, you know every parent's name and every child's name, but when we would sit there administratively and we would run reports, and he would say, make sure I always know the parents' names. I need to know both parents' names and the kids' names and what town are they from and what school are they from, and it was really, really important to him, and continues to be important to him, that it's personal.
When my son, Mary had been playing on Celtics for a couple of years, and my son Ben was, I think, in 6th grade, and he came in to me and said, you know, I want to play, I'd like to play club soccer. So my first thought was, I wish Celtics had a boys team, but they didn't at that time. So I called up Dave ROUT and said, did you ever think about having boys teams? And he said, sure, I've thought about it, but it's late in the year, because it was already, it might have even been early summer. So he said, well, if you can get the boys together, then we'll put a team in. And so somehow I managed to get enough boys together to play that first year.
I was on the first boys team, and my coaches were my dad, Coach ECKERT, Miss PRYSTALSKI, and Coach Chris. I was playing AYSO soccer, and me and my dad kind of decided that we wanted to play travel. And we heard about the Celtics were starting up a new club, so we just decided to put the time to join. It was tough to get players because I was 8, there's another kid who was 8, and their kids were 9, 10, 11.
Adding a boys team, I feel, was important to it was important selfishly to us because I had a son that wanted to play. But I do think it's important for a team, for a club, to be truly a club, to have boys and girls.
To be part of that first boys team, it's kind of cool to look back at it and see like that was the first boys team, and now to look at it now, the boys are going to like Indianapolis every year and going to all these tournaments and doing really well. So it's pretty cool that I was one of the first to be a part of that.
Well, First 11 started by sitting down with Dave. We were talking about how we can adhere to both sides of the spectrum in soccer, where we had very talented soccer players that wanted to play at a higher level. We had soccer players that did this for fun, they enjoyed it with their friends, their family, and we really wanted to have both sides to that.
Yeah, First 11 is it's like more intense training. We have more practices. We added in like strength training and higher level coaching, so we were really practicing hard and training to be the best.
It's 3 practices a week, multiple tournaments. We're asking players to make soccer their primary sport, and the First 11 program has a nice ring to it. I don't know too many other First 11 programs out there. I know tons of elites.
At first I had no clue what it was, but ended up learning that means you're the top of the top, and it was really exciting to know that I was up there.
Why add multiple programs in a variety of different programs, such as Little Feet, for kids that are only like 3, 3.5, juniors, the next stage up, festival soccer, futsal, street soccer, you name it. But again, that is a club or a market thing. One of the goals and one of the visions of the club is to have an all-encompassing program, so you really don't need to go anywhere else. You can start at the club at realistically 3 years old, way before I started playing, and finish, certainly, in high school playing competitively, when you're 18, and even beyond that, we actually have an alumni team, which we form, of college players coming back to play.
Getting to England, I had not been prior to going with the Celtics, spending some time in London, lots of soccer games, and the girls played 1 or 2 games a day, very busy schedule for them, but then the interactions with the locals, and for me every night going into the little pub in the town that we were in either case, and then getting to see some English Premier League games, both, so I'd say the England trip too has been a phenomenal part of this whole thing. And meeting Tom Statham, who's an excellent person and someone I enjoy seeing when he comes back to the U.S.
Hi, this is Tom Statham from Manchester United's Academy. I'd like to wish everyone well who's at the Celtics celebration dinner for the 10th anniversary of the founding of the club. I'm looking forward to coming over in June 2018 to do the soccer camp, and I'm also looking forward to 7th graders coming over to England in 2019 for a tour and to see all the sights and experience football, or soccer as you call it, in England. Have a great evening.
It's that international interaction, and I know that, those players and families that go will certainly remember that for the rest of their lives. Bill Purcell was one of the founding fathers, of the club. Unfortunately, he passed away about 6 years ago. His daughter Claire, was on the first team. His 2 other daughters, 2 younger daughters, twins, Evelyn and Erin, were on the 4th team. So we founded the soccer ship and scholarship in his name.
But when he passed away, the whole Celtics team showed up at his service in their uniforms, and a soccer ship memorial fund was established in his name to allow other children who maybe could not afford or were stretched by the financial burden of playing in a tournament or on a team, to allow them to participate. And that's exactly the kind of impact that he would have loved. And the fact that the community of Celtics kind of came around us and in a way that was kind of forward-looking and giving back, I think is really a beautiful thing.
Another unfortunate event, and was with Brian Schrader, and we tied Brian's name to the Soccer Ship Fund. I coached Brian for a year or 2. He would have been a freshman in high school now, and I'm sure you've been involved with the club, but unfortunately he was tragically taken away from us 2-3 years ago. So in honor of Brian, we added Brian to the Soccer Ship Fund. Trying to stay true to core values with a decent-sized organization, is very hard, but I think we get there to a greater or lesser degree, and we try and be involved with other like organizations and support them through sponsorship and whatnot, and try and support them locally, because often as not we have families in those organizations that actually support us, certainly as being members.
Celtics has had a massive impact on my life, where I've been here for 8 years. That's almost a quarter of my life. I'm 31 now. I've been here since I was 23. basically my entire adulthood has been with Celtics. I got 2 of my best friends involved with the club. I've gotten to know more families than I can count, great people. I've come into contact and mentored more kids than I can count. It's helped me grow as a person, and it's always been stable, and I just think I've grown with the club, and you know, everything's gone from strength to strength.
Bella, when she was young, was very quiet, soft-spoken. Only if you would draw her out would she, enter into a conversation. And I really think being with Celtics for so long and becoming very comfortable with many of the girls who are now her best friends, which is so wonderful to see. I think Celtics has really helped her to become more comfortable with who she is and more confident in who she is too.
Celtics has really impacted me because it taught me to stay committed to what every commitment that I start. It's taught me to try my hardest at everything I do, and really just it taught me a lot more than just soccer.
For me, really, Celtics is a community, and I've made so many friends. I met my best friend through Celtics, actually. We've been best friends for years, and I'm just so thankful because not only does it keep me in shape, but it also keeps me in shape mentally, and I've been able to have a lot of opportunities. I've been able to do high school soccer, and I've just been able to really get to know more people in the community.
Recently, I was applying for jobs, and I was able to put down Dave ROUT as a reference. And I actually just applied to the Indian place in town, and they knew him, so that helped me get the job like right on the spot.
The club motto, well, Conato e Constantia, means with effort and determination. That's a big deal because we hope, and that the players in the club and the families will remember that motto, and it should apply to everything that they do.
Effort and determination is something that I feel that each of the coaches has emphasized, each maybe a little bit in their own way, but really has emphasized the individual teamwork, yes, but the individual responsibility of each player on the team to put in all of their effort. And I've seen my kids rise to the expectations of their coaches.
I like to borrow that motto when I talk to my kids about schoolwork. I think it's a great motto in life, and it's a motto of a driven person. So it's not always, what I think that means the most out of that motto is that it's not always the end result, but it is about the effort that you put in to life, to sports, to homework, schoolwork.
That motto, the effort and determination, it's taught them that in other aspects of their life, in school and in other sports that they might play. It's really taught them how to dig deep, and when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Well, culture firstly starts at the top. It starts with leadership, which is very important. So if the leadership sets the tone as regards to an organization's culture, the chances are that'll trickle down and filter down to everybody within the organization.
The culture of the club not only comes from the leadership of the coaches and the staff, but also from the parents too. That is what helps keep our culture strong.
What makes the Celtics stand out, and our frame of reference is different because we didn't have an experience with a different club. It's just a very warm and inviting environment, and David ROUT did a good job of initially, when he was creating what the Celtics is now, it was much smaller at the beginning, but it still feels intimate in a way that I don't think you would get from other clubs.
So our culture is one of, and this is what we profess and we try to live up to, is one of pride, camaraderie, and team spirit. All those great things you can get from being involved with a team sport. That's really what culture means to me. It means family, it means engagement, it means being a part of something. That's the culture of the club.
Hooray! 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 right, gentlemen. Right hand to right hand. Down you go. Well done.